All right, hey, this is Bryan here with some more guitar shenanigans. You might have seen an unboxing where I unboxed this FireFly FFMN, which is a copy of the EVH Wolfgang Standard. So I actually do own a Wolfgang Standard. I was very curious about this guitar. I've read some about the Wolfgang. I'd read some really good reviews, and people saying that the Standard, which is kind of the base model, was the best of the models. Not having a lot of money to throw around, I found one used at Guitar Center. It's in the other room right now, but that's kind of a black slab guitar. Bad pick for somebody who records and streams live because it doesn't show up very well at all on camera. But it plays great. And I was just doing some research to see, well, what are the guitars that are similar and compete with it that would have similar features? And to my surprise, I knew FireFly had a version, but I didn't know that it compared so positively. There was a couple people that had kind of bad ones and went and replaced the trem and replaced the pickups. But then as you saw, those videos were a few years old. And as you got to newer videos, they were saying that they had made some improvements like stainless steel frets and better pickups and better bridges, particularly the bridge I was concerned about. Because if you buy a guitar for $260 and then you have to replace the locking trem and spend anywhere between $80 to $120, you might as well have bought the Wolfgang in the first place. So as I was doing some research, Bing took me to Guitar Garden, and this was on sale and in stock. So I grabbed one before it went out of stock because this exact guitar is currently selling on Guitar Center's website used for $540. So that's like $300 more than it costs new. And I gotta say, I can see why. So my primary concern was the bridge because I have a Chipson version of the Jerry Cantrell Standard, which supposedly has a Floyd Rose locking trem on that. You can see videos about that guitar on this channel, and the bridge on that is not great at all. I mean, technically it's a locking trem, but it falls out of tune pretty quickly, and it's not very smooth. It's kind of jerky and irky. This bridge is literally as good, in my opinion, as any Floyd Rose special I've had. I got a Kramer Pacer back there that's got a Floyd Rose special on it. And the EVH, even though it's labeled EVH, is just a Floyd Rose special with the EVH logo on it. It's not a Floyd Rose 1000 or anything. So let me shut up and play this guitar a little bit. We'll do some clean tones. This is middle position. Now it sounds great, but the most important thing is, like the EVH, it's got the roasted maple neck. And what that means is with all the moisture taken out, it is a lot more stable. I have a Harley Benton, which has Meranti wood, which is kind of like another species, supposedly a mahogany. And that guitar is super sensitive to humidity changes. And it shrunk up during the winter, and I had to take it to a tech to get the fret spout addressed because the neck shrank so much in the dry humidity. So with these having been kind of pre-dried, they don't shrink. And then the other thing is, although I love a maple neck and a maple fretboard, again, like on that Pacer, this roasted maple neck is even better. Now, one difference between this and the more expensive Wolfgang is they both have amazing necks that are super comfortable to play, but they get there in a different way. So if you're looking at the neck on a lot of guitars, it's pretty much straight and the fret comes this way. On the Wolfgang, what they've done is they've beveled the edge of the neck and it's at a slight angle. So as you go up and down the neck, it's super comfortable, and the frets have been ground down to meet that angle of the neck, and it's super smooth. Now this FireFly is super smooth, but they accomplish it a different way. How they accomplish it here is they use the bald end stainless steel frets that are pretty popular now on a lot of the more affordable guitars, kind of a luxury feature for an affordable guitar. Since they have bald ends, it gives you that similar super smooth experience. but they do it a different way than the EVH. So another kind of difference between the EVH, they go 3 and 3 with the tuning. This is kind of more like the Music Man version of the EVH, which is 4 and 2. And then I was shocked that these stock tuners are really, really good. Kind of going back to that Jerry Cantrell GNL ripoff, the tuners on that thing are horrible. You have to fight to get it into tune, and then close to tune, and then you can use the fine tuners, which work good. But again, I get the trem itself when you dive bomb or pull back is kind of junky. So the last comparison I'll make to the EVH, the last couple comparisons, is the EVH is designed for dive bombs only and not pulling back, half a step. Let me put some gain tone on this. This will be better. So you can't do these bends because the body cavity on the EVH has not been routed. I love to do this kind of thing, and it's a big part of my flight rose playing. So to achieve that on the Wolfgang, what I have to do is adjust the springs in the back so that the bridge starts to come up when you're in standard tuning, and then you can do flutters with it. You can do flutters kind of like that. On the EVH, if you have the bridge floating, but then when you do a dive bomb, the strings don't go completely loose. When I dive bomb on this, look at how far the G string is coming up. Now listen to how it stayed in tune. I mean, that is amazing. For a $260 guitar, to have a bridge that good is insane. But you're like, Martin, how does it play? It plays great. Not a single dead fret on it. So it sounds great with distorted tones. When you have it in the bridge position, it's super bright. And it almost kind of gives it a single coil tones. It's almost honky like a single coil guitar and super bright. So you can almost get a stratty kind of sound with it. Let me go clean. Middle position. Sounds like a jazz guitar, right? And then neck. And if you notice, no noise when I flip between those positions. So, I've been going on for almost 10 minutes about this guitar, but, again, let's just let you guys take a look at it. So this is the FireFly FFMN it shows up wonderfully on camera, as you can tell, as compared to the Wolfgang I have, which is in the black matte. And that thing is like a black hole. It doesn't matter how many lights I have on that thing. I have to be wearing a white t-shirt for it to show up when I'm streaming, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Even though it plays good, if it doesn't show up on camera for my requirements, that's kind of a big deal. And then the back of this guitar, which I really like, has a different finish. Now the carve on the back of the Wolfgang is a little bit better. This is carved a little bit, so it's pretty good to reach the upper frets, but the carve is not quite as good as the EVH. But again, for less than half, and then honestly, it's really close to like a third of the cost. I cannot believe how good this is. Even if you don't compare it to the EVH and just look at this as a guitar on its own, the tuners are fine, no issue with them. They're just great. They're not excellent and they're not Grovers, but boy, they're really smooth and they do the job. It's got the string tree here, which prevents the pitch from changing when you lock this down. On a lot of guitars that don't have this and have a Floyd Rose, when you lock these nuts in place, it actually raises the pitch by a quarter or a half a step. You don't have that problem. You've got the baked maple neck with baked maple fretboard, so it's like super smooth in your hand, and it doesn't fluctuate with humidity. The neck is gorgeous. The back of the guitar is gorgeous with this kind of red stain. And then this, I forget what the official name is, but this amber maple top is really nice. I was actually, before I got this, considering getting another EVH. There was an EVH that was on sale and then discounted again. As I mentioned, they're usually $749. There was a green absinthe, which must not be a popular color, because Musician's Friend was selling them at like $459, and then they sent me a code. They're like, hey, we know you're following this. We'll give you another 25 bucks off. So I was this close to buying that guitar, but I already had this on order, and it arrived the next day, and I'm so glad I didn't blow another $425 on a guitar I don't need, because this, I hate to say it, it's like pretty much 90% there. It's 90% as good as the Wolfgang. And that's probably because you're not paying for the licensing, right? Just to put EVH on there, Fender, who makes that guitar now, has to pay the estate of Eddie Van Halen, right? So this has got all the components, an actual licensed Floyd Rose that's great. You saw how it stays in tune. The neck is great. Everything about this guitar is shockingly good for the price. And I'll just end this video by saying, this is Martin Bryan. I've done a detailed review on this FireFly FFMN, and I'm shocked by how good it is.